I'm a preacher kid too, man. We always be in the mic as a preacher kid.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. The Bible says. Get off the mic, man.
Oh, I didn't know you were a pastor. You got a pastor on the mic.
Yeah, my
I
dad's
didn't know
been
that.
a pastor for about 40 years, man. I used to be the mom. Minister of music.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, you'd be surprised when you start pulling some layers off of me, man.
Oh, that is really interesting. I had no idea. I'm not a PK, but
Yeah.
my dad was a minister of music
Oh, it was
growing up, and so we would stay in the church all day. So by the time we got home, I was just like starving. That's how I actually found out about. Well, I watched my mom cook a whole lot. On that and
Sunday morning dinner.
prepping food. She'd always cook it like the night before, and everything would be ready to go by Sunday because of that.
The house smells
Yeah.
good. You wake
Yes.
up smelling that food.
Oh, that roast. And then they ended up getting a crock pot. Ooh, couldn't tell us nothing about that crock pot and that roast beef.
No, tender. That's my go-to,
Yes.
man.
Did you go to a church that didn't necessarily have a end time? Like,
Yes.
oh yeah. So then it's even worse.
Yes, yes.
You're
Them
waiting
Baptist
like-
churches, and don't let it be one of them Southern Black Baptist.
Oh.
As I hasten to a close.
Right.
For the next 2 hours.
Right. Nah, the hasting.
We've been hastening, Bishop, for quite some time. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, over the years, I've heard of a lot of different diets. If it fits your macros, Atkins, Mediterranean, ketogenic, the carnivore diet, vegan, Dukan diet, and paleo, just to name a few. It has been said that the average adult will try over 120 diets in their lifetime. And the CDC estimates that 17% of adults over the age of 20 years old are on a special diet. And the most common cause for a special diet was weight loss. So yeah, here in America, we love us some diet culture. But one diet that I recently came across had me kind of scratching my head. It's called OMAD, 1 meal a day. Yeah, you heard that correctly. It's another more extreme version of intermittent fasting with a shorter window of eating every 24 hours. To me, it sounded a lot like starving or fasting like we do in church, which is why I was surprised that one of the most brolic guys in the gym that I go to was one of the diet's biggest supporters. So, of course, I invited him over to break bread. Meet Don Burch, lifetime fitness enthusiast, social media influencer, and OMAD dieter. This is part podcast, part breaking bread, part storytelling. This is At the Table. This is probably our first episode, Jesse, where we've had someone here at the table that's not eating.
I know. He's got a bowl.
But we got you a bowl,
water.
and we
Okay.
got you some water.
Right.
Is this not your window of time to eat, right?
Well, I'm always eating.
Wait a minute.
I'm throwing you off, right?
Yeah, you are.
My
Hold on.
body's eating right now.
You
Yes, it
didn't know
is.
that. Okay,
Yes,
we're
feel
going to
it.
get
Have to preach
into
a
it.
sermon
Yeah,
on this,
come
isn't
on. That's what that was. My body's always eating. Come on, son. All right. You're already schooling us. Can you just give us a little bit of background on you and your story of fitness and wellness? Because for those of y'all that are listening to this, Don is an incredibly fit person. Jesse, he's actually almost 50.
Almost. I
Yeah.
see it coming February 4th.
February 4th in just a few months.
Where's the birth certificate?
I know, right?
Absolutely right.
Let me go ahead and see. Let me go and see that birth certificate,
Yeah.
right? He's always, and that's how I discovered him in the gym. I was like, man, who's that swole guy over there? But like, abnormally swole in terms of like everybody else. It's like, all right. And then I just saw him just working out really hard. And we started talking. I was like, okay. And he told me he was almost 50. I was like, all right, see, that's what I need to be doing over there. Whatever he's doing, I need to be trying to figure out whatever this fountain of youth is.
Right.
So you weren't always this fit, though, right?
Are we being honest today?
Yeah, we being honest. Come
Well,
on.
not always this fit. Like most Texans, football was the beginning stages. Got into sports. Started kind of late in sports, 8th grade year, following football. So through organized sports, I've learned the dedication to being an athlete. And I carried on to college. I was blessed to be a part of a team in '91 that's considered a historic team. I played for a team called Iowa Wesleyan. This team had
Iowa Wesleyan?
Yeah, this team had a coach by the name of Mike Leach. Rest in peace. He just passed away a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. He was maybe 29 years old, and just basically through sports, I was blessed to be around some great athletes, and it ventured on as I left college and started boxing. So I always wanted to be active. Not coming from a family of active, sports. It was all about church growing up. It was all about 7 days a week being in church. So I didn't have a background like a dad that was in the NFL, mom that was an athlete in Olympia, something like that. It was never that case. And I tried to figure out, how did I become the person that wants to work out, the person that loves to be fit. I think this is something came out of me, and it continued on. Of course, get married, have kids. That's when the brakes hit.
Like, you have that inner drive because of athletics, because of the sport, and and the competition aspect of it kind of makes you hungry for it, and you kind of miss it. But I can imagine starting a family and whatnot.
Brakes hit.
It's really hard.
You go to work, come home, it's clock back in.
Right.
You have to either take a kid to an event at school, or you got to be there. You can be the band dad, or you can be the assistant coach to the assistant's coach. So those things, which I don't regret, but I think a lot of us men tend to put ourselves, body wise, our health to the side. Yeah. Not purposely, because you're so busy. The last thing you think about is internal health. You just gotta be intentional. You gotta be aware. Yeah. And the first thing is to be honest with yourselves and say, well, what can I do for my internal health, physically and mentally? What should I do today to make sure I'm good? Yeah. Which if you think about it honestly, when you're saying I'm good, I'm prepared, I'm stronger, that has to reflect to the other things in life.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
It portrays, so you're a better dad, you're a fantastic husband, you're a better employee, or whatever you're doing in life. It makes you better. Because if you start dying inside and dying who you are cutting people around you short.
So you have had kids now. Okay. You're getting back onto your plan. When did you discover intermittent fasting?
Okay, let's fast forward. I started training, certified in training, started getting more involved with people to getting trained and healthy. Then jumped in group fitness. I'm talking about just like a 10-year gap. Yeah. So in 2004, where we at 2020. Okay. COVID hits, right? Went through the pandemic, started running more. So I always stayed in fitness, but I started noticing that I was not maintaining the size and the look I wanted. Also I frequent the doctor quite a bit. That's yearly. A1 started going up, high blood pressure started hitting me. I'm 48, 47. I'm hitting that what physicians consider that sweet spot. Okay, you're 45 and older, prostate. Okay, we need to make sure, your high blood pressure is good. All those protocols that go through for a man my age, a black man my age. So I started getting doctors in my ear. Older generations start passing away. Older men start passing away. So I realized I needed to change. I realized not only I need to change, I need to make a drastic change. Started off in Thanksgiving, probably at 245. By Christmas, New Year's, I was 255. Wow. Still working out. Still, you see me in the gym, still throwing weights around, still sweating, still doing the things I thought was right. I realized I was trying to outrun the fork. Outrun my age. Outbeat my age. And I just realized I couldn't do it. Start searching online, YouTube, men over 40. Lose weight, men over 40, lose fat, men over 40, high blood pressure. Just doing all of those things, and ran across a page about eating 1 meal a day. Interesting. I love food. Can I do it once a day? Yeah. Can I eat once a day? And at this point, I was desperate enough to try it. It was like my last swing at bat. It was like, dude, I got to get this right. Yeah. For myself. For turning 50, I got to figure this out for health and for my overall wellness. I had other goals I set for myself for 2022, but OMAD won. That was the first thing I did that first month. So
how long have you been doing it now?
I've been doing OMAD since January the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a part of my. I wouldn't say diet is part of it's who I am. Yeah. Eating 1 meal a day is pretty much everything I do. Pretty much that's my focus.
Okay, first I wanted to see how popular the OMAD diet was to see if it was much more of a recent trend, so I did a search on Google Trends. And I searched within the last year, and not surprising, I saw a spike in interest in January, so I extended the search back to about 2 years before Don discovered OMAD, and it was confirmed, y'all. I am out of the loop. There's been rising steady interest in this diet since mid-2017, with large spikes in January and June of 2019 and 2020. Now, that led me down a rabbit hole of searching the internet for what was going on at the time, and I found a host of articles, blogs, and videos of people sharing their weight loss journeys and overall experiences with OMAD. And with so many people claiming to lose weight, no wonder there are spikes in January and June, months where people are taking a closer look at their goals and checking in on their progress. Now, you may be wondering, Kev, you fit men cook. How did you not know about this? I mean, this is what you do. Well, sort of, right? Once I find something that works for me, I kind of stick with it, and I've been more curious about the types of foods rather than how people are actually eating those foods. So there's my pass, okay? But here's what I found out for those out there like me wanting to know a little bit more. But first off, what happens when we fast? Fasting is essentially a reset. It cleanses us of toxins, and our cells that are normally stimulated when we feed are forced to find other ways to produce energy. So the Cliff Notes version, fasting works by prolonging that period when our body has burned through the calories that we have consumed. You know, that frustrating time between meals when you're hungry, borderline hangry? That period is prolonged so much that your body begins burning fat as an energy source. Now, OMAD is a form of intermittent fasting, whereby you eat just one meal or eat during a smaller window of time, 1 to 2 hours, then fast the rest of the day, then repeat. Intermittent fasting typically has a 16-8 split. You're gonna eat for 8 hours and fast for 16. That's the most common split there is. Now, people who follow OMAD have touted its ability to help with focus and productivity and weight loss. In fact, several of the blogs I read mentioned that being able to eat whatever they want for that one meal was a plus. Kind of like having a treat meal each day, which reminded me a little bit of the if it fits your macro philosophy, where so long as the food meets your caloric and macronutrient needs, almost anything is acceptable. And with just one meal, you're likely not meeting all of the calories you would consume in a normal diet spread throughout the day. And to lose weight, you know, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So if you're eating less, you likely will experience weight loss, which is why I can see the appeal for so many people. But my main thing is, this is a pretty big self-inflicted mental challenge, mental gymnastics in the name of weight loss. But if it works for you, great. But as my late grandmama Irene said, that's nice, baby, but don't do mine like that.
For people that actually listen to this and you can't really see, you know, Jesse, I'm not sure if you're having this moment either. But when you talk about the diet, when you talk about it, you talk about, I'm just desperate for this change. I really need it.
Yeah.
You're an incredibly fit person.
Right.
So this idea that you were desperate for a change, I don't see why you were feeling so desperate for that.
Okay.
What was it, an aesthetic thing? And if it was aesthetic, then I get it.
No, it wasn't aesthetic. It was aesthetic. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the aesthetics of looking good. You know, it's nothing like being able to go to a beach and take your shirt off.
Yeah.
I get it. But at this point, it was more health.
Okay.
Even though I maybe, in some people's eyes, look pretty great for my age. Like, you look great for your age. Like, I know, appreciate it. But internal, I wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
I had bad habits, bad healthy habits. I was like a roller coaster, you know. I didn't have control of my nutrition. I didn't have control of what I put in my mouth. It was, okay, I'll burn it off. I eat this fried chicken. I eat this Popeyes or whatever it is. I just didn't have any control. I was not seeing the difference in my body. I wasn't feeling the difference. So internally, I wasn't feeling great.
Is it desperation then just wanting something else, just wanting something new?
I like that. I never thought about it in that way. It did bring something new, and ultimately it did challenge me. And being the athlete I am, I was up for the challenge. But I think it started, I would have said it started that way. But once you get into it and start seeing the other benefits of OMAD, the benefits of actually controlling what you eat, how much you eat, it just changes a lot. You realize food is an addiction.
Okay.
Food, you are trained for so many years to eat a certain way. especially if you're not exposed to proper eating, proper, nutrition. Oh man, it just exposed that, and once it exposed, it just brings it up to the surface.
Yeah.
So you can realize that food is not just for me to enjoy, and well, yeah, we're gonna enjoy it, but it's not for me just to consume because it's there. You got to put it in its proper place.
Purposeful.
So I really don't call myself eating. I call myself feeding. I feed. I fuel my body because I like moving.
Are you still married?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been married this year. Celebrated 25 years.
Congratulations.
We partied, man.
Hey, you turned up.
I wish you guys could have came. We should have invited y'all, man.
Yeah, we'll go to turn up. I can turn up. We're going to eat, though. I'm going to eat for 1 hour.
Well, I did eat. I do make exceptions. We can talk about that later.
And that's what we're going to talk about actually right now. So take us to the moment when you walked in and you told your wife, babe, we're going to eat for 1 hour a day.
There's no we. There's no we in team. She wasn't hearing that.
We.
She definitely was open for fasting.
Okay.
So it's all about the fasting protocol. I'm allowing my body time to just absorb the energy it has stored.
Okay.
So I get up in the morning, give you an idea of my day. I get up in the morning at 5 or 4:30.
Okay.
I may go for a jog on the treadmill, have some coffee. And my jog is all about meditation. So I jog real slow, maybe 6 miles an hour. Just real slow, methodic, just loosen my body because you've been OG. You got to loosen those joints up and get blood going. I have my coffee. I drink some water with some sodium in it, potassium in it. Shower up, head to the gym. I go flip some weight around. I go move some weight. Come home and work. Drink coffee, drink water, drink tea. Stay busy.
No sugar and all this.
No sugar. No sugar. And then around about 6, depends on how I feel, I have my meal. And my meals are just good food. Good home-cooked, solid 3 meals. It may be a roast beef with some cauliflower mash, maybe some enchiladas with corn tortillas, with chicken. And then maybe a side of whatever, chicken breast and some broccoli.
And what made you keep going with OMAD?
The first one was all about the results.
Okay.
To be honest, it was all about, oh, wow, I dropped 20 pounds. I went 2 weeks, 20 pounds. 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And that was, to me, was all Christmas cakes and
it's a lot of water weight.
Yeah, a lot of water weight. So I went from 255 to 235 like quick. Best motivated is results. So after that, I kept seeing results, but then I started seeing my body change. My energy level picked up. I was able to go through workouts with a different feel. I felt revived.
Yeah. I've heard that there's almost like a heightened sense of awareness whenever you fast. Like you become a lot more alert during those fasting periods. Yeah. Did you experience that too?
Oh, yeah, I feel it now.
Okay.
Yeah, my vision is clear. My thoughts are clear. I don't have that heaviness when you eat. So my thoughts are during the day is awesome, but definitely when you eat though, you have your body's processing the food, but there is a heightening of awareness. So I do agree.
What does the research say? It's mixed because much of the research is on intermittent fasting, not necessarily OMAD. One study that jumped out though was in 2007, way before the diet found internet stardom. They wanted to determine the effects of meal frequency on healthy adults over a period of 8 weeks. So one group got 3 meals a day and another got just 1 meal a day. When consuming 1 meal, subjects experienced a significant increase in hunger, a significant body composition change, including reductions in fat mass, but also significant increases in blood pressure and LDL cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. So yeah, weight loss, but potentially elevated cholesterol and blood pressure. I thought it was worth noting the increase in hunger over 8 weeks. It makes me wonder if that could lead to binge eating behaviors once people migrate to another style of eating. Now, it is worth mentioning that another study published in 2016 that was done over a span of 6 to 8 years with participants showed that consuming 1 or 2 meals a day was associated with a reduction in body mass index, whereas 3 or more meals a day correlated with an increase in BMI. So I wanted to know what a registered dietitian thought about the diet, so I reached out to Christy Wilson, a nutritionist out of Arizona who I met a few years back at a conference. All right. What up, Christy? How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, thanks.
Good, good, good. So I wanted to pick your brain because I came across this diet recently. It's called the OMAD diet, 1 meal a day. And it's part of the intermittent fasting. I can already tell by your reaction.
Some of my patients are on it and they don't have a name for it. So at least I can give a name to what they're doing.
What do you think about it?
It's basically just another attempt to typically lose weight. You know, the logic is the less calories I eat, the faster I will lose weight. And the reality is every person is different. Everybody's body is different. Some people will lose weight, but they soon find that they can't keep up with it, which logically you can't. For other people, they'll, you know, in attempt to lose weight, they'll really cut back on their intake and maybe just have 1 meal a day, and feel like they have low energy. They often will, you know, they'll lose weight in the beginning and then hit a hard plateau. And just they're frustrated. It affects their mood. It affects their appetite. They seem more hungry because they're denying themselves food. It's just another restriction.
You know, it's funny that you said that. One of the studies that I came across said that the participants who had the 1 meal a day experienced extreme hunger. I was wondering if that could lead to binge eating behaviors afterwards or even during the diet.
Absolutely. I mean, it puts you right in the throes of, you know, disordered eating is really, I mean, we're going to call it what it is. It's another way, it's another type of disordered eating, and restriction is certainly one. It's also that denial, you know, you're telling yourself not to eat, and just constantly waiting for that window of time that you're allowed to eat.
How do you distinguish disordered eating from a style of eating that actually is getting good result? Is it disordered if people can maintain it?
Oh yeah, people can maintain disordered eating habits for decades. There's the diagnosed disordered eating diagnosis, and then disordered eating habits, and restriction is one of them. You know, the diet that works is the one you stick to, right? As crazy and off the wall as it can be, crazy or not. That's one thing I ask them. Can you see yourself following this for the rest of your life? And certainly, by eating 1 meal a day, as balanced as it is, it will not provide you enough calories to support your energy levels, to fill in all those gaps of vitamins and minerals, or micronutrients as we call them. So also somebody's calorie intake depends on so many things: your activity level, your muscle mass. You know, there's all sorts of things that go into how many calories somebody needs in a day. So that's why these cookie cutter diets just are not for everyone. One diet does not fit all.
So it's safe to say, for your perspective, it's a no for the long term, maybe short term?
Very short term.
Okay. So maybe, hey, I've got to lose a few pounds in the next 2 months, or the next month. Would that be okay if a client came in and said, no, there is no circumstance that you are recommending OMAD to your clients?
You know, obviously people are doing it. Can people survive doing it? Yes, absolutely. Our bodies are so resilient. Why learn to eat in a way that you're going to have to unlearn eventually? Like, do it right from the start. Why learn all these quirky, you know, ways of eating when what we know, you know, over and over again, what's most nourishing to the body, what's most nourishing to the mind, what's best for disease prevention is feeding yourself nourishing foods throughout the day and staying hydrated. So it's like all these approaches, all these different meal plans, or 1 meal plan for one a day, in the long run will be eventually undone.
Just well said. Thank you, Christy. Thank you very much for that. It was really helpful perspective.
Welcome. You're welcome.
As I've said over the years, when it comes to eating and food, the best data that you can have is experiential. So me and Jesse gave it a go for a very short window to see how we felt.
Ooh, welcome to the after show.
What's going on, Jesse?
What's up, man?
Did you try OMAD?
I did.
I tried it for 2 days. How many days did you try it for?
Just one.
I found that it was actually easier to follow because of a busy schedule.
See, I agree with that because on the days I know I've done it involuntarily, it wasn't an issue.
Okay.
But on the one day I did on a Saturday, just tried to have dinner with the fam. That was the only one. It's a bit of a struggle for me.
Well, and I can understand that too because Saturdays are not work days and you're not being stimulated by everything else.
Saturday, you know, you probably, it's the kind of day maybe you eat more than you would during the week anyways because you have the time to kind of sit and think about, well, maybe I'm going to make this thing I've always wanted to try. Or
one thing that I did note though was I felt pretty energized and my focus was really intense.
That's good.
So
that's what's supposed to happen by what they say, right?
That was also because I had coffee in the morning. I had my little espresso. And then by 3 p.m., I was needing another jolt because I started to get hungry.
Okay. And what time was your first meal that day?
My first meal was at my eating window was only between 7 and 8.
Okay, yeah, so you went the full day.
And I did that for a reason because hormonally I feel like my appetite spikes in the evening. And I didn't want to be hungry in the evening and like having eaten earlier. And I also didn't want to eat and then get super tired and then I couldn't work.
I just went the full day noticing that like, I'm hungry. I'm having trouble kind of focusing. I feel like I'm more like almost angry than like, you know, like just kind of getting more irritated just because I haven't eaten. And so I don't know if it has to do with my metabolism, blood sugar type stuff, you know, just needing a little bit of something maybe. But I had coffee, I drank water.
So in one of the blogs that I read, one of the nutritionists there or the dietitian said like that was her number one concern, people being hangry. And she said like if you're hungry already, you're going to be like hangry.
Yeah.
So you experienced that pretty quickly.
Yeah. And the next day, I decided to intermittent fast still. But I just made sure I stopped eating at a certain point on Sunday. And then I made sure I got a full, I think it was like almost 20 hours before I ate again.
Okay.
And so stopped eating earlier in the evening and picked up again on Monday, mid-morning before lunch or whatever. And that was better for me.
Okay.
Because those morning hours, my body's not so like, I need to eat right away. It's kind of takes some time to wake up. And so if I can get a fasting window in and eat by 11, I'm good.
Okay.
I don't experience the hangry stuff and all that.
But the rest of the day though, when did your appetite start to spike?
But I didn't do one meal a day. I made sure I got a fasting window in and that was it.
Oh, and then you went back to regular eating.
Yeah, so like intermittent fasting would be better for me, I think, to have a window of fasting to get the benefits of it, but then just resume eating as normal.
Okay.
Yeah, not sustainable maybe.
Not sustainable. Yeah. Well, you don't have to worry about weight as much because your metabolism is super fast. You don't really gain weight like that, right? Yeah. For me, I do, but I found though myself somewhat conflicted during the diet as well. Yeah. Because it was much more like, why am I depriving myself? I found myself asking that question often, like, why am I depriving myself of these things? Yeah. And the answer was simple in terms of like, well, Kevin, you don't have any self-control. Well, then I'm like, well, why don't you work on your self-control? Yeah. Rather than do this diet. Just work on, you need to work on that piece. The same way that you work in the gym or work the other things, you need to work on that aspect of your life then, rather than adopt a style of eating that's really not even conducive to your lifestyle.
Yeah, and maybe that's a cool point to make just about dieting in general for some of these things. Like if you really think it's something you want to try it, but be aware of like, hey, you might learn something about yourself. Like, okay, I'm realizing self-control is something that maybe I could get better at. You knew maybe it's not sustainable, but
So do you agree with my grandma Irene?
Yeah. Don't do mine that way.
Don't do mine like that.
That's good.
I tell people when they ask me about diets like OMAD, you want to make sure that it complements your lifestyle. Yes. So if someone is really social, they're going out, they like the happy hours, they like to talk and stuff like, with friends and hang out with family, it may not be something that complements their lifestyle. Have you ever experienced something where the OMAD philosophy, the OMAD approach has been a little bit challenging.
No.
Okay.
Because
tell me about it.
Because I don't. It's not a religion for me.
Okay.
I'm not fasting because I'm trying to connect to a higher power. Fasting for health, right?
Can I just pause for a second? That was a big bar that you said. I'm not sure. It's not religion for me. I think that's where we that's the part that a dietitian or, like many of them kind of deal with clients on, that it's about like your lifestyle almost to the point it's your identity. And when it's your identity, then those things, like you start to have the condemnation about changing things up or eating outside of that. And so that is, I've never heard anybody say that ever.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out. That was a really big bar.
No, it's not a religion. Fasting and OMAD is part of my lifestyle, but it's not my lifestyle. My lifestyle is feeling good, looking good, and being good, So if a birthday party comes up, if you call me and say, hey, dude, I'm cooking up some oxtails, and I've been dedicated to OMAD for a week. Why wouldn't I say today I'm off? Today is a day of enjoying friends because I'm absorbing good energy. Yeah. I'm hanging out with Kev. I'm hanging out with these guys here and having a good time. So it's not per se something I do because it's hardcore. I'm sticking to it. This is my lifestyle. It's the way and the only way. No, it's a tool.
Right.
Fasting is a tool. So I look at it. I have that approach. If I were to give you a percentage, I'm probably OMAD 80%, 85% of the time.
Okay.
Birthdays, situations come up. I make adjustments. I might eat 2 meals a day. I'm always fasting. Every day I do fast. I believe I allow my body time to heal up, digest, and use up. And it's kind of goes back to what you said earlier about just that competition.
I can see that now. I didn't see that before, but once you were talking, I was like, oh, this is like a sport.
Yeah.
The game is like, because it's almost like a strategy too.
Yeah.
Because you also have to set the time of the day that you feel like is going to be best for you to go ahead and eat. And so the rest of it is like, all right, how can I keep myself occupied and doing other stuff before I can get to this window of time? But I also got to keep myself hydrated and whatnot. So it is, I mean, it is.
Found something that's sustainable, because before you mentioned there was lots of like yo-yo up and trying different things. It's not working out. And this sounds like it's something that,
you got a point.
Even if you get off for a week because you go on vacation, you could jump back on.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are right. I never thought about that. And hearing you talk is almost like each day was a win.
You've started up this thing called OG Fit Club. Yeah. What is the OG Fit Club?
OG Fit Club came because I was going to the gym once, recently, like a year ago, and a kid came, hey, what's up, OG? I said, who you calling OG, bro? I'm lifting the gym around,
You can tell him.
Hey, don't call me an old man.
See these guys.
And this was before OMAD.
Yeah.
I kept hearing it. OG, what's up, OG? What you doing today? What you got working on? What you working on today, OG? I'm like, OG, okay. And then I had a thought, like, well, I am the old guy in the gym now. And it's not an insult. It's not a put down. It's like a younger guy's looking at me and respecting what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then OG Fit Club came. I realized a lot of us guys need to be reminded who we are, right? Reminded what we can do. Reminded that, you can do more. So I just wanted to start a community of older gentlemen about fitness and about awareness of their bodies, awareness of their health, internal health, mental health, all the things above, just open dialogue, kind of like the old school barbershop.
Right.
I want to have conversation with my G's to bring awareness of who they are, because at this point of our lives, we're now looking back and saying, oh, wow, man, I done gained 30 pounds or more. Oh, wow, my kids are in college. Oh, wow, who's this woman I'm sleeping next to now?
Yeah.
You start trying to figure things out. Doesn't mean it's the end of the road or you have to change your path. Just got to add some things to it and just open up dialogue, because I don't know it all.
That's good.
And I want to connect with other gentlemen and just make a community of guys that's working toward fitness and health and nutrition and just keep moving and living in good,
So people can find you over at ogfitclub.com?
Yes,
Okay.
The ogfitclub.com, or I am down Burch on Instagram, and the OG Fit Club on YouTube.
Okay. And not everybody in the OG Fit Club is doing OMAD.
No.
Is it correct?
I don't push OMAD on no one.
Okay.
I do push fasting.
Okay.
So you will fast.
Yeah.
You will move. It's all about moving. So the way I work, you will fuel up, right? You will move, and you will enjoy.
Right.
Always. Yeah.
You started out on OMAD at the top of the year.
Yeah.
On January 3rd of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So it'd be like 1 year in and you're doing this. What would you say to the gentleman that kind of looks like you that is wanting something deeper?
I would say pause. Pause and take a deep breath and ask yourself, right? Ask yourself. Give yourself time. Say end of March 31st, 2023. How do I want to look? How do I want to feel? How do I want to be? See that, visualize it, write it down, do what you got to do to remember that feel, that look, and who you want to be. I mean, just grasp it so you can see it, sleep it, dream it, work on it, and just till you believe that you can be it, right? And then start taking action. Because I believe what you have within you will start coming out, right? So know exactly when it hits the 31st of March, Don, Kev, or just who do I want to be, how I want to feel, and how I want to look. That's the first thing you need to do. I believe everything else will fall in place.
Well said. Fasting.
Fasting.
To OMAD.
OMAD.
To OMAD.
Hey. Thank you, Doc.
God, thank
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right, peeps, that is it for today's episode. If you're looking to try any diet for any particular reason, I always recommend that your first stop be with your primary care physician. Do a physical, get a checkup. Basically, baseline where you are so you can better determine what your needs are and devise a strategy that works for you. And if you're a curious person like me, I don't think there's anything wrong with experimenting with different styles of eating from time to time. But like Don said in the video, don't make it a religion, rather an experience. So happy eating, whatever, whenever that may look like for you. Catch up on earlier episodes of At the Table wherever you choose to get your podcast, and watch full episodes on youtube.com/fitmencook. For daily inspiration, follow Fitmen Cook on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Until next time, keep it healthful, y'all, but never, ever boring.